what is your name?
My full name, Monica Brightbot Griffin.
Okay, what year and where were you born?
1928 in, I guess I'll say Dubuque, Iowa.
What did your dad do, like for a living?
He was a general merchandise owner.
Okay. What did your mom do? Did she have a job?
No.
So was she like a stay-at-home mom?
Yes.
So during the Great Depression, wait, can you repeat the year you were born?
1928, but I was too little to know anything about the Depression.
But I think by the time it ended, you would have been like 13, right?
Well, I thought the Depression was 1929, 30.
Yeah, I guess you would have been like a
year or two. The Depression didn't affect me.
No. The Great Depression ended when World War II started.
Well, I wasn't aware of a depression, let's say.
Okay, so like your dad still kept his job during the Depression?
He owned his own business.
Oh, okay. So did any of your friends' parents lose their jobs?
Yeah, we know that. I only know one of my my cousins told one of my sisters that my mother, if it wasn't for my mother and dad, they'd have really had a hard time. I guess they gave them food.
Did you go to a public or private school?
Private.
Did you pray daily? Like, was it a Catholic school?
Yes, Catholic. We prayed daily.
Okay. Do you know if people prayed daily in the public schools in the area?
I wouldn't know. I never went to a public school. I went to a private, Catholic school, even through college. Were
most of the people in your area Catholics?
Yes. All but one family. Well, most of them were Catholic, let's say.
But did you have like a uniform?
Yes.
Was it super conservative and that type of thing?
Yes, very.
If like one of the students misbehaved, was it nuns that taught you?
Nuns, yes.
How did they discipline you?
Well, in grade school, it was the only time I was really disciplined. You had to write from the dictionary maybe 100 words with 7 letters or 100 words with 5 letters. They altered, changed it from time to time. And I'm sure we didn't have any big discretions, maybe talking in class.
Did you have co-ed classes?
Yes, in grade school, but not in high school or college.
Okay. What was the highest math that you learned? Or what type of classes did you have? Did you have like language and I don't know, my dad's highest math was trigonometry. Did you have like trigonometry as your highest?
One college math, I guess it was trig. And I had Latin, 4 years of Latin.
Or do you remember what science classes you took in high school?
I took general science. We didn't have a good science program, just science. We took physics and science. We didn't have chemistry or biology, even though that ended up being my major.
Then how did you become interested in chemistry?
Well, I took a pre-med course, and it was biology and chemistry. I majored in biology and minored in chemistry.
How did you decide to go to college? I mean, were most of the girls in your high school, did most of them go to college?
No, about 10%. Let me see. Maybe 20% went.
Was it expected that you would go to college in your family?
Yeah. My older sister went to college.
Okay, where did you go?
College?
Yeah.
Clark University, Clarke.
Oh, okay. I think I've actually gotten some college mail from them. Was Clark University, I mean, nowadays we think of like colleges as, pretty liberal institutions, that type of thing. Was Clark University, were schools at that time pretty liberal or were they pretty conservative?
Conservative.
And you said it was an all-girls college?
Yes.
Okay. What did most people, what was the main major at your school?
Sociology.
Sociology? Okay, so were you kind of unusual, majoring in chemistry?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, I had a question about the Great Depression, if you remember any of this. So this is kind of going back. Do you remember how your parents or how people in the neighborhood felt about FDR and the New Deal? Do you remember any of that?
I only know that my dad was a staunch Republican, and I'm sure he didn't vote for FDR, but I was kind of young, and probably not that, I wasn't that young. I'm not sure that interested in politics.
Do you remember, like, during World War II or anything, do you remember, like, because you were German, were you treated any differently or discriminated against or anything like that?
No, in fact, people from my neighborhood, although there are a lot of German descent, they were drafted into World War II. And one of my older sister's friends was even an interpreter in a German prison camp. It was a very German. I grew up in a very German neighborhood.
Did anybody in your family go off to war?
My older brother.
Did he survive the war?
Yes, he was a paratrooper.
Did he describe any of, like, his experiences in World War II? Like, did you notice, like, definite changes in him when he came back from the war?
No, the one who was really in war is my older sister's husband. He was a pilot, and so he flew like 50 bombing missions and 50 fighter missions. He was really involved. I'm not sure my brother was that involved because he was younger.
How old was your brother?
He was probably 17 when it started.
I know that, just background, because I'm recording you just for people that are going to be listening to this later. You lived in Afghanistan for a while, right?
No, Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Okay, Saudi Arabia.
And Iran.
How did you end up living in Saudi Arabia and Iran?
Well, I saw an advertisement and I applied for the job, and they flew me to New York to interview, and I was hired, and so I went to Saudi Arabia.
Were those places, I mean, today there's kind of like a stigma about those places being very unsafe to live in, especially if you're an American?
Not at that time, although I attended daily meetings, and I don't know if I should tell you this, but they had, in the desert, they had escape plans in case somebody turned on us.
You mean they had escape plans for, like, the Americans there?
And there was a certain sense of danger there, yes.
Yeah. Was life in Saudi Arabia and Iran, like, very different from the U.S., and how was it different?
Well, in Iran, it was very different. We went to the local markets. They did have a lot of import foods and clothing, but imported, I guess I should say. And in Saudi Arabia, we would go to they called it souk, I think. I don't even know how to spell it. I think it was S-U-K. We'd go to the market, to the Arab markets, and it was very interesting. But they had an American-style commissary type store for food.
Did you work mostly with Americans?
Oh, no. I worked with Indians and Arabs.
Did you learn a bit of any other languages?
I went to class every day for Arabic.
Do you still remember any of it?
Wahid, Ismail, Talata. I know, no, I don't really. Wahid, Ismail, Talata is 1, 2, 3.
Were you the only female working, or?
Yes, I was the only one in my lab.
Was it considered very weird for you to be working? I mean, I know today, like, women are definitely not at the same status as women in America in those countries, so...
Well, the men would invite me to their villages on weekends, and our weekend consisted of Thursday and Friday. And then they would invite me, and the women would all be segregated, in a behind a back fence, and the men were the only ones who, they'd have all the men in the neighborhood would get together and eat. We'd have rice. Everybody would eat out of a common bowl in the middle of the circle, and we'd eat with our hands.
Did you have to wear different clothing, like a lot more conservative clothing, to work than you would have had to in the U.S.?
No, we didn't. In the marketplace, some of the older men, we were spit at one time because we didn't have our faces covered, but we didn't wear shorts or real, short sleeves and all that. We were dressed more conservatively, I guess you'd say.
Did people like Americans in the countries? I mean, were they supportive of the United States and all of that?
You never know. The Arabs always